Hello, Gilad here. I'm coming to you from beautiful and sunny Lisbon, where I just spent a week with the Virtuoso members from the UK and Ireland, as well as from continental Europe, learning from them, engaging with them, and of course sharing a few of my learnings and a few of the things I'm paying attention to in the world of AI. And of course, I want to share a few of those learnings and a few of those key points with all of you. Now, I began by sharing with the audience here that I am incredibly excited about artificial intelligence, and that they should be too, but not because of the technology itself, but rather because of all the things that these technology, that artificial intelligence, will enable us and allow us to do within our industry. And my goal for this talk is to make you just as excited as I am about all that is coming down the pike. And I also wanted to begin by sharing just two thoughts that I often share with leaders from the stage. First, when it comes to this AI age, there's no reason to be nervous or scared. We are just getting started. We're all on chapter 1 of this book, so none of us should feel like we're behind or lost or forgotten. We are just getting started, and the best thing you can do is to get started right now so you can compound your own learning and your own experience. And of course, second, in a world of ubiquitous AI, the human connection is the best differentiator. Remember, the experiences that our industry creates and offers will be more needed than ever in a world overrun by technology, robotics, AI, and the like. So you're in a good place, and thank you for joining me. Now, there's a few things I want to do during today's presentation. First, I want to begin by giving you a quick update on artificial intelligence, what's going on, what I'm paying attention to, and of course, the things I think you should be paying attention to as well. I'll share just a couple of examples of AI in the wild, and I'll finish with a bit of advice and some quick wins that you can take with you into your own business. So first off, a tiny bit about me. As you guys probably already know, I've been around AI for a really long time. My dad was an AI pioneer in the 90s. I started Utrip in 2011, the world's first AI travel platform. And I've been really fortunate to get to engage and to support so many businesses, startups, funds, and others bringing AI into the world. And I feel very lucky, and I feel so fortunate to have learned so many things from all these wonderful people across our economy. Now, I wanted to start really briefly by talking about the state of travel technology and AI in hospitality. And there's a lot going on in this space. As you all know, I make this point all the time. As an industry, we used to be early adopters of technology, and something happened. Maybe it's 9/11 or .com or the OTAs or who knows what. But something happened, and over the last 20 or 25 years, our industry went from being an early adopter of technology to a laggard. And the whole point I want to make right now is that I am so optimistic that we can use artificial intelligence and the great commoditization, an era that ensures that just because our engineering teams are smaller or just because you don't have any PhDs on your staff does not mean that you lack the ability to build and deploy high quality technology. This is our opportunity to retake that position of leadership as an industry. Now, there's many different ways to gauge the state of the travel technology ecosystem, and one of them is by paying attention to the things being funded. And what you see here on the screen is a very short list. This is not all-inclusive by any means, of some of the rounds of investment and M&A that has happened in our space over the last year. And as you can see, there are many examples here in the hundreds of millions and even in the billions, showing a lot of interest and a lot of belief in the forward momentum and in the upside that is going to be available to our industry over the coming years and decades. Another way to think about all the different things that are happening in the industry and the state of the travel technology ecosystem is by looking at all the various realms or areas within the industry that we're innovating and building AI in. And as you can see from this slide, these areas are many. There is so much innovation happening across the travel, hospitality, and lifestyle sectors. And again, a lot of reason to be excited no matter where you work within this industry. And lastly, another way to think about the state of travel technology is through the things that I'm paying attention to. And as you all know, every year before Virtuoso Travel Week, I host our Virtuoso Travel Technology Summit. And these are the themes and trends that I was paying attention to last year that I share with our community and with the industry as a whole. And the most important thing to say is, while I love AI and there's so much to be excited about in the world of AI, it is not the only thing happening in our industry. There's innovation across the technology stack. And again, that's something I think we should all be really excited about. Okay, so with that introduction out of the way, let's dive in. Artificial intelligence for non-technical business leaders. To start us off, I think it's always important to remember that there are three different kinds of AI that exist, and we need to think about them differently and separately, both within our businesses and within our lives, philosophies, etc. The first is just what I call artificial intelligence. This includes AI, Gen AI, computer vision, etc., and these are effectively tools for people and businesses. Your companies should be adopting these tools today and adopting the ones that make the biggest impact, the best ROI for your business. Category 2 is artificial general intelligence, which represents a near state, a near future of artificial intelligence, where we have many AI agents or AI bots with capabilities similar to entry-level employees deployed all over the economy and all over the world. This is called the Aigentic era of AI, and it's coming very soon. I'm going to say a lot more about that in a minute. And finally, we have artificial superintelligence. This represents a future state of technology where AI is as knowledgeable as any of us in effectively every field and every realm of life. A lot of people predict that this is still 20 to 30 years away, but this is something that all the big guys in AI world are paying attention to. And when you hear about those $100 million bonuses that Mark Zuckerberg and others are paying for engineers, that's to engineers that they believe can help them bring about the artificial superintelligence era that is coming in the future. But today, you should pay attention to AI tools that you should be adopting within your business today, and very soon to AGI, artificial general intelligence, which will represent an entire ecosystem of agents that you can hire and bring into your company to bring efficiency, productivity, service, and lots of other things into your organization. Now, it's important to note that AI is a wide field of study, and including many different elements within. Remember, Gen AI is very cool, but it's only one subsection of artificial intelligence. And as you know, part of the job as a leader is to select the right tools for a given problem. And as I like to remind you, even if you have the world's best wrench, if your project requires a hammer, it's still not going to work. So remember, AI is a wide field, and selecting the right tools and the right technologies is half the battle. But of course, as we all know today, when thinking about cutting edge AI, most of us are thinking about generative AI. AI that can write, that can create images and videos, that can communicate and conversate with you. And that's really exciting, and there's a lot more to come from this realm, but of course, this is just one small element of the world of AI. And right here is a visual created by a friend of mine showing the places within a specific business that they believe you can deploy AI. And the point here is that AI is coming for every element of your business. And no matter where you work within the business, thinking about how you can use AI to further your goals, to bring efficiency, so you can focus on the human connection, on customer service, this is coming for all of us, not just for those of us in sales and marketing. Now, of course, as I already referenced, I call this big picture era the great commoditization of AI. And the reason I call it this era is because we started 2020 in a world where only a very small number of the most sophisticated businesses in the world had access to artificial intelligence. And we're going to finish this era at a place where every business and every company on the planet is able to utilize AI for ordering, for accounting, for customer service, for efficiency, and many, many other ways. This is really exciting for any business, but especially for those of us in industries like hospitality that historically have been short on engineers, on PhDs, on technical team members. Your ability to deploy high quality computer code and high quality software no longer is determined by your ability to hire a bunch of engineers. It's really determined on your creativity, our ingenuity, and your innovation. And this is a really exciting time for our industry and something that all of us should be incredibly excited about. Now, I want to stress the scale of this opportunity. The scale of this opportunity is absolutely enormous. What you see on the screen right now are examples of companies that were born within the first few years after the mobile revolution, when the iPhone launched back in 2007. Think about the scale and magnitude of these companies. Companies like WhatsApp, Uber, Instagram, DoorDash, companies that were physically not possible to exist before the mobile revolution, before the deployment of smart devices across the world. This is the scale of innovation that we saw coming from that era. And I'm here to tell you that I believe strongly that the disruption we'll see from AI will be even bigger and even more meaningful than the disruptions that we saw from the mobile revolution. The point I'm trying to make is that this is big and it's coming quickly. Now, some of you may say, I've tried this technology in the past, it didn't work so well, it's not really coming as quickly as you say. And I want to stress that the speed of development, the speed of iteration of this technology is incredibly rapid. If you look at this chart right here, it shows you how long it took for an AI to go from the beginning of the effort to human level proficiency with that type of technology. So the first example you see on the left in blue is AI that can read handwriting. And ultimately, as you can see, it took us nearly 20 years to train an AI model that could read handwriting at the same level of proficiency as your average human. But if you go all the way to the right and you look at computer coding in that kind of pinkish color, it took us less than a year from the time we began to train AI to code until AI arrived at human level performance. This is showing you the enormous acceleration in capabilities and development. And this is a reminder that just because you tried something in the past does not mean it's not going to work today. And that right now is the best time to get engaged with AI because things will never move as slowly as they do right now. Now, some of you have heard me already share a bit about my view on the commercial history of AI. And the point I just want to stress is that 24 and 25 were the eras of businesses sobered up, got back to business, and really began to figure out where they want to deploy AI, how they want to go about that, how they want to measure success, what the key KPIs are, etc. And in 2025, we saw businesses across the economy and across our industry upskilling and upleveling their executives and other team members to have people with deep AI and data expertise within their teams. And because of all this work that's been put in for decades, but especially the last 2 years, this is why I believe that 26 and 27 will be the rapid adoption era of AI. And this is your time, both as an adopter of AI to get engaged in this conversation, and for those of you building and creating AI solutions to really hit the market with your first customers right now. Now, of course, I think AI is pretty cool, but the reason we're talking about this today, the reason I'm pushing you to adopt it so quickly is not because I think it's cool, but it's because consumers are demanding it. You've probably seen this chart already, especially if you've watched other of my talks, but this is such a powerful illustration that it took Netflix, an unbelievably successful platform, almost 1,300 days to get to 1 million users' accounts. It took ChatGPT just 5. This is the pace at which this is growing and the level of interest that consumers have in this technology. And of course, in our own industry, we know that nearly 80% of consumers want to use AI in their accommodation journey, and that a vast majority of consumers use LLMs and other kinds of artificial intelligence in their dreaming, in their research, and in the planning part of their travel cycle. We have to adopt this not because I'm telling you, but because your customers are demanding it. And of course, many of us, especially those of us in the Virtuoso network, focus on high net worth and affluent travelers. And it's important to remember that just because your customers are affluent and want human touch and human experiences and human service does not mean that they do not expect artificial intelligence and other technology to be effectively utilized within your organization. And of course, our friends from LVMH and many of the top luxury houses around the world have been investing in and adopting technology at macro speed. Okay, so we've talked a bit about AI, we've talked a bit about the kinds of AI, we've talked a bit about why you should be adopting AI. I want to spend just a couple minutes talking about agentic AI and AI swarms. So when we first started thinking about this agentic era of AI, and of course, a reminder, agentic is just a famous word for agents. The agentic era refers to an era with many AI agents deployed around the world. So as we began to dreaming about the agentic era about a decade ago or a little bit more, there were kind of two competing models for what the future of the agentic era looked like. It was the everything agent model, kind of based on Star Trek, you click on the thing and the computer can do anything, and an AI swarm model. And at this point, it's become quite certain that the AI swarm is going to win this battle. And AI swarms are really exciting for, I think, effectively every business, but especially for those of us in the travel, hospitality, and lifestyle sectors. First, for a definition, an AI swarm is simply a constellation of bots working together, each independently doing a little thing on its own, but together trying to accomplish one overarching task or goal. And the thing is, each of these agents on their own is not that sophisticated or that capable, but together, working in concert, they can accomplish truly incredible things. And we as an industry should be incredibly excited about that for lots of reasons, including the fact that AI swarms have a lower bar to getting started and are cheaper to build. Meaning if you can just do the commission itinerary piece, if you can just do the customer service and research piece, whatever it is, you can just begin to use the swarm with just those pieces at an acceptable level of proficiency and quality, and continue to iterate and to build on top over time. It is incredibly fast to iterate and to improve within the swarm because you can easily switch out one bot for another at any point. And it's inherently collaborative. And those of us in Virtuoso and those of us in the travel hospitality industry, we're already inherently collaborative because that's the industry we live in and we operate in. And of course, those of us from hospitality, we love other people. We want to collaborate, to work together, to build amazing things with them. That's another reason I'm so excited for the swarm architecture to be the future of agentic AI. Now, I've shared these examples with you before, but I want to share one really quick one of what an AI swarm might look like. So this is an example of an AI travel concierge that could be used by a traveler, by a hotel concierge, by a travel advisor, etc. Imagine the swarm began with an expert in me bot, an AI agent that understands me and my desires. And that partnered with an AI destination research and analysis bot to search and learn about the places I should consider going. Working together with an accommodation search and booking bot that was trained on relevant industry data to identify the best options for me. Working with a payment and smart wallet bot that has access to my credit card and bank account, because I don't want all the bots having access to my money. They will all be partnering with a transportation-focused bot that can search, book, and string together transportation options, working together with third-party weather predictions bots to reduce the possibility of trip disruption, an itinerary builder bot, which may be its own constellation of bots, working together with logistics and other kind of capabilities, and then utilizing a legal docs and cross-border bot to ensure that I've got the right visas to enter the country. And maybe this is an important business trip, so I want a cultural attaché bot, or something to entertain my kids, or if I'm sick, a medical support bot, whatever it may be. Building an AI agent that can do all of these things is effectively impossible. But building mini agents that can do each of these individually is not only possible, it is already here right now. And that's why I'm so excited for AI swarms and for our ability to work together to piece together swarms that become ever more sophisticated with time. Okay, as I begin to shift and finish this lesson, I want to make one macro point. There's a big shift happening in the world of AI. We're shifting from generative AI that can communicate, can converse, that can create content, to agentic AI that can take actions on your behalf. This will require new thinking and new mental models, but this is something we should all be incredibly excited about. Okay, a couple things to remember and some advice for dealing with this era. First, the pace of change will continue to accelerate. Right now is the slowest our world will ever change again. This is the time to get on board and to begin to learn and to begin to be a part of this change in our world. Second, keep an open and agile mind. Just because something did not work 6 months ago does not mean it will not work today. You should keep iterating, you should keep trying because things change very, very quickly. And last, embrace the best of both philosophies. Every business will soon be a hybrid business with humans and AIs working side by side. The goal is not fewer humans, it's supercharging those humans' ability to be creative, to communicate, to create human connection through the integration of AI. Every business will be a hybrid business soon. All right, with the AI lesson behind us, let's dive into just a few examples of where artificial intelligence is being deployed within our own industry. For a long time now, we've seen companies utilizing AI to turn content into action. Stories, itineraries, pictures, and videos can be turned into bookable pieces, bookable itineraries, bookable trips using AI, turning all the work you already did into something that can drive commerce for you today. We've seen hotel rooms and vacation rentals turn into shoppable stores and display centers. We've seen the proliferation of DIY and peer-to-peer trip planning, travel clubs, and other tools and capabilities that allow travelers as well as travel advisors to better care for their guests and to better visualize the options of their trip. It's not just the startups. The big guys are engaging too, because at the end of the day, everyone wants more AI within their operations. The financialization of our industry is another great example of elements of our economy being supercharged by AI. These solutions take concerns, problems, and obstacles travelers face every day and use AI and smart technology to productize those things, creating win-win outcomes, solving problems faced by consumers while making more money for the business. Over the past year, we've seen the rise of AI concierges and AI tour guides that allow you to be in your guest's pocket anywhere they go 24/7, making sure that you're there to support the things that they really want to do, aligning your brand with their dreams. And of course, as we spoke about at the Virtuoso Impact Summit, there's an endless number of ways to use AI in our sustainability efforts to alert authorities when poachers are around, to reduce food waste, and of course, to do a better job of storytelling to fight back against over-tourism. And AI is being used to create whole new types of offerings. Imagine the ability to create an offering that is personalized for every traveler and every single step of their journey, using innovations in hard product types like the huge proliferation we've seen in the options in luxury, wellness, culinary, etc., brought together with dropship capabilities, things like Uber Eats, DoorDash, etc., that can have a specific product meet a specific person anywhere in the world at any time, of course, all wrapped in AI storytelling. And I always like to share the examples of Marriott's proliferation of hotel brands, going from under 10 to over 40 in just a couple of decades, creating many, many more options for people to find the right hotel for them. Or Lufthansa's business class that offers 6 different configurations for people who want more privacy, or to be with a couple, or to view movies as a family. And of course, we've seen this proliferation in many other elements of the travel hospitality ecosystem. Of course, dropship, like I shared, Amazon, Uber Eats, etc., can drop things anywhere, anytime. And then products like Sora and OpenAI and others can create really rich content using AI. Let me give you a concrete example. My daughter loves princesses. So if we were to take a Euro trip as a family, it would go like this. When the van came to pick us up at the house to take us to the airport, our itinerary would have been turned into a video that could play on the TV in the van to get my kids excited about the trip we have coming and about all the princesses we might run into when we're in Paris. When we got to the airport, we'd have 4 seats, not just 4 seats together, but the right 4 seats in that new configuration where I could eat and watch a movie with my kids. When we get to Europe, we have the right hotel selected from the huge proliferation in hotel options across our industry. And when we get upstairs, there would be princess toys waiting by the bed or in the bathtub, dropped off by Amazon earlier this morning, and brought up by the hotel to ensure that my daughter's experience is lovely as she transitions from flight to vacation. The next day, the tour guide would come to pick us up, and before he arrived, he would get a list of fairy tales about princesses in Paris that he could incorporate into the history walking tour to make sure my kids were also engaged in the information. And as the tour ended at that delicious bakery, we'd have an Uber Eats drop off a box of gluten-free cookies so our gluten-free friend could also enjoy dessert at the end of the tour. You could see where I'm going with this. Using these innovations, we can create tours and experiences and trips that are truly dynamic, that are created for every single user and every single trip, every single time. And by doing so, create this incredible win-win-win outcomes, beginning with better trips for me, the traveler, that are richer and more personalized for my needs and desires. In return, that leads to more profitability for you as you get to sell me bigger elements of the trip. More of the trip is coming directly from you. And of course, the third is the benefit of spreading the value of economic spend from tourism across many more businesses and many more people in the economy. A win-win-win outcome that, of course, begins with the traveler, but benefits everyone in the value chain. All right, before I run out of time, a few things in the news that you should be paying attention to, and a few pieces of advice that I've been sharing with my CEOs and friends. First, as we all know, SEO has left the party. Travel distribution is changing, and I'm sure it's already true that many of your brands are getting fewer leads each month coming from SEO search than they were in the past. And the future of distribution has many possible futures within. The AI giants might be a place we buy travel in the future. The incumbents are working hard to adopt AI. Our phone in our pocket that has all this information about us and is with us everywhere we go throughout our lives is a strong contender. Of course, I'm betting on the startups, and there's a lot of us thinking about agent-to-agent commerce in the future. The important thing to say today is that we don't know how this distribution landscape is going to play out, what's going to have more power or less power in the future. And because of that, all of us have to keep an open mind and open ear as we think about the future of distribution and how we get to participate in this new pie that's being carved up. Okay, results to work through in this new landscape I've been describing to you. First is you should increase the depth of engagement with your travelers. The number of page counts does no longer matters. Maybe it never mattered in the first place, but it's really the depth of your engagement that matters most with travelers. You want to build trust, and you want to be able to help them with those really difficult, complex questions that are at the core of so much of what we do for travel. Similarly from that, and derived from that, we'll be able to collect more contextual data. AI search is all about context. So in the future, you will need more than just their age or gender or hometown to be able to make relevant personalized recommendations. You need contextual information. Focus on collecting those contextual clues, which of course partially will come from deeper engagement with your customers. Grow share of wallet, not just the volume of travelers. Having more guests, more customers is wonderful. But through AI storytelling and through dynamic products like I just described, we have the ability to create win-win-win outcomes where you engage the traveler more deeply, and by doing so, you create better experiences for them and a greater share of wallet for you, meaning you make more money per customer, increasing your productivity and your profitability for your business. And then, of course, lastly, is shorten the cycle between an idea and live product. As I spoke a lot about at the beginning of this talk, the great commoditization is the great equalizer that allows all of us to participate in this technology ecosystem like we never have before. Figure out how to use vibe coding and AI assistants and other things like that to shorten the cycle between a great idea and the ability to test it over time. We are also entering an era where artificial intelligence is helping us to create dynamic user interfaces in real time. Imagine all the visuals you present to a customer or traveler can be created on the fly to offer even deeper personalization and a deeper experience of storytelling for that specific traveler. Let me give you a concrete example. Today, if there's 4 of us traveling as a group, the travel advisor or the concierge is only going to make one itinerary for the group. It'd be ridiculous to expect them to make multiple itineraries. However, if I'm the planner in the group, I want a detailed itinerary schedule view. And my wife, who's the navigator in the group, is going to want a map view. Our friend who is the dreamer is going to want pictures and collages and videos and music to really help her experience a destination and dream about the experience coming up. Whereas the intellectual wants history lessons and more information about the economy within the country. It would be unreasonable for the advisor to be asked to make 4 different itineraries. But this is allowing you to use AI to create really dynamic experiences for every single member of the trip in real time to offer even deeper personalization, even deeper engagement with the content and recommendations that you're creating. Of course, many in our audience at Virtuoso and many of you are leaders and business owners, and I have just a couple quick pieces of advice as you think about AI adoption within your business. First and foremost, focus on a culture of innovation. As I said earlier, at the end of the day, today is the slowest pace you will ever experience again for technology innovation. It's only going to accelerate from here. And thus, the best way to address that is to create a culture of innovation within your company that allows your company to innovate and to become more innovative with time. And then on the personal side of things, keep AI open all day in your desk. The way that you're going to know how to use AI, the way you're going to find more use cases and more utility for AI is by having it open on your desk all day long as you discover more things to do with it. I developed this mental model about a year ago with a number of Virtuoso travel advisors as we're all thinking about where to deploy AI within our own work and within our own jobs. And my basic suggestion is to create this 2x2 metric. At the top, going from things you love to things you dislike. On the x-axis, things you're good at and things you're not as good at. And ultimately plot them on here. And then what you'll realize is that there's some things in the top right quadrant, things you're both good at and you love, and you should absolutely leave those alone. You should leave them as is and do them exactly the way you do them today. And focus your AI efforts on the bottom left quadrant, things I'm both bad at and I dislike to do. This will both give you the internal motivation to adopt AI because you're taking things you dislike, and will give you the results to have better performance because you're focused on things you're not as good at. That'll give you the double incentive to develop further from here and to find more uses for AI and more places to be innovative. Now, there's a lot of quick wins with AI today, and I'm happy to share all this with you guys at another time. And of course, you can pause the video here and take a closer look. But the idea here is very simple. There's a lot of small wins. You could take descriptions that have been pre-written and personalize them for every specific users. You can take menus from the past and information you have about the user and make dynamic overlays of the menus. You can create shared prompt libraries within your business so anyone innovating with AI can share their learning across the organization to drive further adoption and further efficiency across the entire company. And of course, very soon, we'll have the ability to deploy internal AI brains within any business to get the best knowledge from across the organization and make it available to everyone anytime they need it. Okay, so advice for hospitality executives. Develop mental models within the organization. As you know, I've talked about mental models a lot. They're just shortcuts to thinking. A mental model is a brand safe and appropriate way for you to deploy AI within your business, and then share those mental models with your frontline employees where the real innovation is going to happen, but by sharing those mental models, they do so in a way that's brand and company safe. Focus on personalization where it makes real value. Don't focus on personalization for personalization's sake. Don't focus on vanity metrics. Focus on places where personalization deepens the human experience and the human connection. Start small, but test quickly. And prepare for the shift we've talked about through the great commoditization of the build versus buy relationship. And of course, I already said, embrace the best of both philosophy. It's not about replacing humans, it's about supercharging their impact. Okay, 3 final thoughts as I leave you today. First, AI belongs on the board and executive team agenda, not as an IT project. AI is changing our world, and ultimately that's going to change every element of your business, which is why you as owners and leaders have to focus on this and should do so right now. Second is never stop testing, learning, iterating, and collaborating. The winners of the mobile revolution were not the first companies to launch mobile apps. It was the companies who committed to a decade of test and learn. And the same is going to be true with AI, except for instead of a decade, it's going to be a lot faster, which is why you need to start your learning journey right now. And lastly, why I'm so bullish about travel and hospitality. This is why I remain so bullish about travel, hospitality, and lifestyle sectors. We're in the business of creating moments that cannot be replicated by algorithms or automated into oblivion. We are focused on creating experiences disconnected from economic productivity. The best companies in this space understand this difference. They know they're not just focused on making travel faster or cheaper, they're obsessed with making it more memorable, more meaningful, and more personal. And most of all, more human. Thank you.